Let's start with another example. Consider the offset we are trying to access is 200. Our base is at 1000 and limit is 500. So 1000 and with limit 1500. This would give me the complete base and the structure. How to go about it? How system would work? First we will check from the base 1000 we have 200. So is it in limit? So yes, we have a comparison that whether the 200 is less than 500. In our case, yes, so it will go in this direction. Next, what would happen is the base, that is 1000, would be combined with 200, giving us 1200 as the answer. And in this base, we'll be accessing some location which is at 1200 for accessing some data. So this is how offset addressing and segmentation addressing does take place. If it would have been something wrong, let's show that thing to you guys. Consider if I'm talking about 600. Now in this case, what would happen is 600, if we are trying to access against 500, this is wrong. As an end result, it would have come down and we would have trapped addressing error. So if we can understand, segmentation addressing is much similar to the paging, but it only targets is the segments. This is a practical example where I'm showing values for everything. Consider in this segment 0 is of subroutine, segment 3, segment 4, 1, 2, everything has been given. For each of the segment I have mentioned over here the limit and the base. For the segment 0, which is for subroutine, limit is 100 and the base is 1400. That means we have the entire address coming into picture. So let's go for the segment 0. So 0, as we have, segment 0 has a base as 1400 plus 1000, 2400 is the limit. Similarly, for segment 1, base is 6300 but the limit is 400. So if you go down to 6300 from 400, we have this. Similarly, for segment 2, we have address for segment 3 and segment 4, which you can understand from the current diagram. So logic here there is very simple. User would always provide two things: segment ID and the offset. Segment ID would give us limit and base. If they both are valid, then we would combine base and offset so that we can get finally. Things are pretty simple to understand provided your paging is clear. So after doing all this thing, let's try to understand what are good, what are bad when it comes to segmentation. Segmentation has no internal fragmentation coming into picture for the obvious reason that we are just storing the exact block size where we want to or where we have memory. So there is no internal fragmentation definitely. But as a reverse to that, we do have external fragmentation, which means we may not have a continuous memory to store a big segment, although there are small chunks of memory available around. Similarly, segmentation may save the memory if and only if small things combined with the pages. We have segmented paging, which is a combination of the segments along with paging. This is talking about the same thing. Another thing is the small entry. Your segmentation table is very small in terms of size, because of which we have only few pages to it. But at the same time, average size of the segment is much greater than the average size of the page. This does provide lesser overhead, but then also we have to work with it. Similarly, there are disadvantages that it has a costly memory management. Why? Imagine we are trying to dynamically allocate the available space to a variable size segment. It would be troublesome. Now, segment find big memory. That means find free memory are big enough, because as I said earlier in the first point itself, external fragmentation, we need a continuous memory, which is another drawback of segmentation, whereas paging used to take care of it directly. Another thing problematic because of segments or of variable size is swapping one segment with another. We may have a segment of 10 kb and we need to move it out, but the next segment which is about to come in may be of 25 kb. Under this case, swapping will not be possible always. So that's it, guys. That's exactly segmentation. A very quick view again. The segmentation is logically divided program into several different parts depending on their nature. Whenever it comes for the addressing, we will always handle segment table consisting limit and base for every segment. Given a segment ID and the offset, segment table is checked. It is also checked whether the address is within the limit or not. If not, error, or else access is granted. To access, we would be combining the base with the offset to produce a particular location. I hope everybody is clear.